Hello everybody, thank you for watching The Political Vigilante. We're all making Gotham great again. There was a new article in Truthdig.com. Is Space Force a step toward war in space? Yes, in my opinion, and this article is going to go in to show that. I think it's the defense industry and the war machine saying, Trump, we got to find as many places as we can to spend money on war. So war. You know? I mean, if peaceful aliens came to visit this planet, we would view it as a threat and build a wall and blow them up, you know? June 18th, President Trump announced that he was directing the Pentagon to develop a new branch of the U.S. military, a space force that would give the U.S. dominance in that realm. It would be, he said, and here he used a classic phrase from the Jim Crow era of racial segregation, separate but equal to the U.S. Air Force. He's well aware that he puts these, I mean, this is a separate but equal was what Southerners were saying when they liked Jim Crow laws. Well, we're not treating blacks less than, they just have their own area. Yeah, on the back of the bus, man. Much of the rest of the announcement sounded like it came directly out of a Star Trek episode. Yeah, the Space Force thing, I barely put any effort into it when I came out because I was just like, Space Force? And it's just another... A comic friend of mine named Gary Brightwell on Instagram does Space Force Friday, and he always finds these old hilarious photos of like sci-fi movies and from the 50s and 60s and posts them on Friday. They're very funny. But again, I don't think, when Trump does these things, I don't think it's like, he's very calculated in his distractions. And anything he's saying or doing just about is probably about some sort of, you know, oil or war machine, or both. Nor was it agreed with universal enthusiasm in either Washington or the U.S. military, to put it mildly. Secretary of Defense James Mattis, who had written a letter to Congress on July 17 opposing an earlier, less ambitious version of the plan, had little choice but to go along with the new scheme, though his reluctance was obvious. However, its reception among key Republicans was at best decidedly mixed. A number of them were skeptical, like Texas Senator John Cornyn, who said, I have not yet heard a compelling case why we need a separate force. But it's Space Force. We need Space Force. A future Space Force could waste money on a scale that would make the billions squandered on that airborne laser look like chump change. Or the $1.5 trillion on the F-35 that Lockheed Martin makes. Initial setup costs over the next few years have been estimated to be at least $8 billion. But once space is fully established as a separate service, that price tag could go far higher over time. In Space Force spending at warp speed, the watchdog group Taxpayers for Common Sense, it costs as much as $190 billion annually. To establish a new military service and the enormous bureaucracy of a new department, even by Pentagon standards, that's a massive sum. Among the questions that remain are, will there be enough spoils to go around? In other words, will Space Force funding come at the expense of the Air Force and other services, or will it be staggering add-on to the Pentagon budget, pushing it either further into the stratosphere? Well, as we know from modern monetary theory, there's plenty of money to do all this if they wanted to. Since Congress and the Fed create currency, we have a fiat currency. It's not based in anything. We went off the gold standard by Nixon, I believe, in the 70s. So, like, where do we begin? $190 billion annually. Gee, I wonder if that could pay for anything. $190 billion. Free health care, college tuition. No, we need a robot space army. That's what we need. And the fact that everyone's not behind it is always like, so who is pushing this then? Who within Trump's inner circle is pushing this? right? It's, you know, I don't know, Trump on one of his coke benders, you know, saw an alien invasion or something. I don't know what. Putting such weaponry in space could, of course, lead to other powers, think Russia and China, to assume that their satellite systems were at risk and so spark a new boom, ding, 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 ding. Cold War style arms race. You're the winner. Bing, 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 bing. There you go. That's the winner. Those are the lucky, those are the words. That sequence of words means, yes, more spending for the defense industry. Yeah, Reagan had the Star Wars program in the 80s. You know, the 80s, the height of defense spending when we were at the height of the Cold War. Money for defense contractors. That's how you read that correctly. Sound it out with me. Money for defense contractors. Yay! Yeah, U.S. military planet, the global economy couldn't do without, would be uniquely vulnerable and blah, 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 blah. John Tierney and Philip Coyle of the Center for Arms Control and Non-Proliferation have summed up the potential consequences of putting missile interceptors in space this way. Space-based missile defenses would motivate U.S. adversaries to increase their nuclear arsenals, ding, 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 and expand their anti-satellite capabilities to neutralize the new space infrastructure. Yeah. We won. We won the Cold War. How did we do it? We outspent them on military. We outspend the next 7 countries combined. And we really need $190 billion a year for this thing? But some defense contractor must, you know, is obviously in Trump's ear. Those are the same people, remember when he ran on his anti-interventionist platform, why are we in Afghanistan? Why are we bombing Syria? Why are we doing this? And then he becomes president, and it's like, oh, boy, I saw those chemical weapons attacks and I had to do something about it. No, the deep state sat you down and went, dude, you better play ball. You better play ball. And they just show him the JFK. Here's Oswald watching a movie nowhere near the book depository, and here's who was actually on the grassy knoll. Now tell me again. I'm sure that's what they do. So, I mean, this is, yeah, you just see through it. When we know what their plans are, we know what they want to do, we just see through it, right? We just see through it. So, thank you for watching Political Vigilante. Please go to the patreon.com/Graham Elwood. Also, the Progressive Comedy Tour with Ron Placone. November, we're going to Northern California. January, we're going to Florida. All those dates are at grahamelwood.com. I could use your help on the Patreon and other places because I stopped doing the Amazon affiliate link. I don't want to get any more money from Amazon, and YouTube is throttling my numbers. So please go to the Patreon and support, and there's a lot of other ways to support. Thank you so much.